let me give you some examples, at least one example of extreme Topanarism. I went to Cornwall College in Montego Bay, and that was just opening up to the general public, right? It was an elitist school in the early days, similar to some of the schools in Kingston, right? Where Topanaris represented 95% of the population, right? While I was at Cornwall College, I started in 1964, and somewhere in 1960, maybe 67 or 68, a group of us decided to go open an account, a bank account, because we were talking about savings and, putting away stuff for the future, even at that early age. And we got into the bank. Well, my impression, I don't know about the other fellows, was that I walked into a foreign land. When I looked around, all of the tellers were either white, whitish, or Chinese, or high-collar coolie. Not a single black person. In fact, you couldn't get a job in a bank. It was a policy. The only black person you would see, and I saw, was the security guard at the front. That's it. That was the only use black people had in the banking system in those days. Not very long ago. I'm talking about close to the 70s. I don't know how long it continued for, but in my case, I started in the hotel business, and it was because of a program, kind of an affirmative action program, which came into being in it was 1971, where the government was asking hotels to take on smart Jamaicans who had the ability to become managers and to replace the foreign managers, because that was what existed, right? The only position a black man could get in those days was like a maitre d', which is like the chief dining room person, okay? The general manager was always white. The assistant manager was white. The financial controller was, for the most part, white, and on and on and on. This is why I think it's just time for that kind of nonsense to stop. Starting with the Prime Minister, right? For God's sake, man. Let's find somebody that looks like PJ Patterson or Sam Sharp or Marcus Garvey or whatever. The symbolism is important for my kids and for the other black people looking on. Okay? I mean, we've been drenched with this superiority thing about white folks. You open the Bible, Jesus white. You get your reading book, them all the smart and successful people white. The only time you see a black man is when he's at the end of a noose in those days. It's terrible. It has to change. Some of my black friends, especially PNP, are crucifying me. They're misrepresenting what I say. I am not prejudiced against anybody. I've had white girlfriends, a white wife, black girlfriends, Chinese, India, every goddamn tribe that exists on planet Earth. Right? And for me, no difference. You hear me? What is very bothersome is that 2025 black folks in Jamaica, a majority black country, are still at the bottom of the totem pole.